With puppies, you'll hear us talk a lot about the concept of critical developmental periods. And so this concept of developmental stages in a dog's life and critical developmental stages is based on the research of Scott and Fuller, and that research is still cited, where they did studies. In their case, they did studies in a laboratory with beagle puppies, and they defined certain what they call critical developmental periods. And they found certain periods that they called fear periods or those types of things throughout the dog's development. And a classic fear period with their pool of dogs was 8 weeks, right? And they defined critical socialization or critical developmental period as the first 16 weeks of a dog's life. Right? I find the 16-week deadline to be a little restrictive. It's dependent on the dog, the breed of dog, the bloodline, the individual dog, and their rate of development. I would say from birth to the first 4 to 6 months of the dog's life, right? And this overlaps what I would call the critical period of puppy development, right? Up to 6 months. And throughout the course of the DVD, when we talk about critical periods, this is really what we're focused on. We're focused on the first 6 months of the dog's life. And in this period of time, a significant portion of the dog's brain development happens. Neural pathways are being created, habits are being created, what the dog likes and dislikes, where they put their energy. A lot of these things are happening. And the dogs are very malleable in this period of time, meaning if properly introduced to certain activities during this time, that becomes a part of their lifetime repertoire. Behaviors that don't get rehearsed during this critical period may drop out of the behavioral repertoire. We care about this because not only are we building attitudes about learning for our puppies during this period of time, but also we're building habits in terms of where dogs put energy. So let's say play is one of the classic examples that we like to use. And what I've found is that if I introduce play during critical developmental periods, the first 6 months of the dog's life, and encourage play-type behaviors during that period, then those dogs are much more likely to have play become a part of their lifetime behavioral repertoire. If you neglect playing with the dogs during this period of time, they may decide to put their energy into other activities, and it can be much more difficult. There are, of course, exceptions. There were dogs that will start to play as older dogs that did not play during that critical period. But for our purposes, if I get a dog to play and rehearse play-like behaviors during that first 6 months of life, I am much more likely to have a productive play relationship with that dog for the rest of their life. The critical period is also crucial to our socialization regime. If my dog is not exposed to certain new types of environments, different people, different places during this critical period, it can be much harder to make those dogs comfortable with those things in the environment later on. And so we use this first 4 to 6 months not only to introduce activities we want the dog to engage in, training, play, we also use this period to expose our dogs to a wide variety of sights, smells, new environments, other dogs in a productive way, other people in a productive way, what we would call our socialization. And we're going to go into great detail on proper socialization procedures, but this period is the most critical period during socialization. Socialization does not end outside of this critical period, but the biggest changes and the most important lifetime habits are created during this critical period.